All right, red light on.
Welcome to Drink Beer, Think Beer, the podcast that gets to the bottom of every pint. I'm John Holl.
And I'm Andy Crouch. And we're at Jack's Abbey in Framingham, Massachusetts with a panel. We have a panel of brewers to talk about the state of beer in the Commonwealth and so much more. We'll introduce our guests in a moment, but first, please visit allaboutbeer.com for original articles, reviews, news, insight, and podcasts. You can listen to shows like Beer Travelers, Brewer to Brewer, and the All About Beer podcast simply by searching All About Beer where you listen to your shows. This show and all the work we do is supported by you, our dear listeners. You can visit patreon.com/allaboutbeer to help keep the content fresh. A few bucks goes a long way to fund writers, photographers, creators, and editors. And if you'd like to learn more about advertising on the show, please email info@allaboutbeer.com.
And speaking of that, we're going to pause here for a quick word from this episode's sponsors.
If you plan on being in Colorado in a few weeks for the Great American Beer Festival, you also need to check out the Denver Rare Beer Tasting. It's going to happen on Friday, September 22nd, and it's bringing together 64 of America's best craft breweries, all for a great cause, the Pints for Prostates campaign. The beer list is incredible. It's packed with rare, exotic, and vintage beers you won't find anywhere else. These are legendary beers the brewers hold back just for the Denver Rare Beer Tasting. It's a bucket list event for both beer fans and for brewers, and you can get a look at the beer list and find more information, including tickets, at pintsforprostates.org. All-inclusive tickets are just $200 and include unlimited beer samples, a great buffet lunch, t-shirt, tasting glass, and a program. Importantly, the money raised goes to the fight against prostate cancer, and it also includes a free health screening before the event. It's a simple blood test that checks for common health issues that might just save your life. That's the Denver Rare Beer Tasting, drinking beer and saving lives.
As mentioned, we're here in the beer hall of Jack's Abbey in Framingham, Massachusetts. We're joined by three brewing professionals with varied responsibilities and resumes. Sam Hendler is co-founder of Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers, managing the sales, marketing, and am I stepping on your lines right now?
Oh, you definitely are, my friend.
Why don't you do it?
You are.
Why don't you
According
tell me who
to this,
Sam is?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sam right now, and then you're going to talk to us about...
I'm not used to having a co-host on
Okay,
this show.
well,
3
guess
years
what?
in.
Share the stage, friend. Okay. Sam does not have much of a resume to speak of, but we'll try to do our best for him. He is a real, a weight on this whole place, but we'll do our best. In addition to his responsibilities at the brewery, Sam is apparently an active board member of the Mass Brewers Guild, the state's trade association. That's the Commonwealth's trade association.
He sent this. Adam sent this.
You New Jersey interloper.
Adam sent this. I did not. I know
this is about Sam, not. Okay. Anyways, back to work. So, in his former role as president, Sam negotiated a national precedent-setting deal between the Massachusetts Brewers Guild and the Mass Beer Wholesalers Association on franchise law reform, which was signed into law in January of 2021, finding a solution to a highly contentious issue that had been debated to a stalemate in the State House since 2008. And I'm sure that was the end of the story. Nothing else happened after that.
Adam Romanow.
Everybody lived happily ever after.
Adam Romanow is the founder and CEO of Castle Island Brewing Company. As the company's CEO, Adam has oversight and responsibility for business strategy, brand philosophy, and sales and marketing. He is also the president of the Massachusetts Brewers Guild, the state trade organization dedicated to promoting and protecting craft beer in the Commonwealth.
Nailed it.
A lifelong resident of the Boston area, Adam's background includes time in management consulting, strategic market research, production brewing, sales and marketing for the beer industry. He is also an experienced home brewer, an avid cook, a lover of the outdoors, a musician, a huge Red Sox fan, and Patriots fan. It's weird for me to say.
Yeah, we couldn't say Celtics because...
I know.
Celts belong to Jack's Abbey.
And the Celtics.
That's Jack's Abbey stuff, so we could not talk about it. So.
And Jennifer Glanville Love is a Samuel Adams brewer and director of partnerships at the Boston Beer Company. Since joining the Samuel Adams Boston Brewery in 2001, Jennifer has played an integral role in research and development of experimental Sam Adams brews and honed her craft on the renowned Doemens Brewing Academy in Germany. She is passionate about brewing traditional and lost beer styles, we're going to talk about this, as well as barrel aging unique and extreme beers such as Samuel Adams Utopias and Cosmic Mother Funk, which deserves a much larger applause, KMF. For her innovative contributions to the brewing industry, she has been recognized by Fast Company as a most creative people in business. A most creative people, not person, but people. It's the plural. As director of partnerships, she oversees Samuel Adams' priority philanthropy program, the Brewing the American Dream, its affiliates, its participating businesses, while fostering meaningful relationships with the Brewers Association and other industry partners. Committed to maintaining the integrity and future of craft, Jennifer is dedicated to growing the network of Brewing the American Dream entrepreneurs and supporting them as they impact the community where they live and work. Welcome to you all. Andy looks like he wants to jump in.
Oh no, that's our show, everybody.
That's it.
It's been 45 minutes of intros, but
I had this whole question planned out where I was going to ask Jennifer a little bit about how everybody felt in Jamaica Plain when another lager brewery opened up here in the Commonwealth. But I want to start off, though, by asking Sam, what is the Baby Maker?
Oh, geez. Baby Maker is I believe it was 13.5% ABV. Barley wine lager of sorts. That was
Barley wine lager.
It was conditioned
You
for
guys
9 months.
You guys stuck to the theme. Yeah.
We sure did. Conditioned for 9 months in barrels, we did a little thing there, and then birthed into the world. To celebrate the birth of Jack's first child. So that's
okay.
9 years ago now. My goodness.
As a brother, are you tired of Jack getting all of the attention?
As long as he gets all the blame, I'm good with it.
Andy, feel free to jump in at any time. This is your show as well. Jennifer, in your bio, you talk about community and community building. And when you go back to '84 and Sam Adams and Boston Beer coming into the state and starting in the state, and then building from there and being synonymous with Massachusetts, where do you feel the community is today?
From our community or in general the beer community?
I think the beer community.
I think in general the beer community, through a variety of things over the last 20 years, is more connected than ever. There's opportunities. We know people want to still visit breweries. They want to visit tap rooms, right? So we're connecting in that way. You asked about how we feel about another lager brewer.
Yeah.
There aren't enough lager brewers, so bring them on. We want as many as possible, right? Because we love making lagers ourselves too. So I think it's spread more. I think people are connecting more. Tap rooms like this, tables like that, bring people together more. So I think even though craft, isn't seeing that double-digit growth or even high growth,
is that important?
I don't know that it is. I think drinkers the drinker today is drinking all kinds of products, not just beer. Before you could talk about different, you might have this person who would drink beer and this person would drink wine, this person would drink this, but I think today the drinker is drinking all kinds of things, and I think you have to recognize that, but that brings everyone together at the same table to have conversations around that, and that's what keeps beer going.
Yeah. Adam, I want to jump to you because as director of the Guild, president of the Guild, head of the Guild, Massachusetts, and Andy knows better than anybody because he wrote a book about it,
Yeah, about 18 years ago. So I'm sure there were 100 breweries in New England at that point, and now I think there's 150 in Massachusetts alone. So,
But
even more than that.
But the fact that 18 years ago you could write a book about New England shows just where this region was going, where the Commonwealth was going. Where is it now for the members? Like what kind of breweries comprise the membership, and what's driving growth?
So compared to when Andy's book came out, which I'm sorry to say I haven't read.
Well, I mean, you were also like 3. So there's...
It's true, here at the ripe age of 21.
Yes. You have achieved a lot.
Yeah, well, accomplishments,
Amazing.
right? The scene today looks wildly different, quite honestly, even than it did 8 years ago when I started Castle Island. We were brewery number 138 in the state. There were over 220 today. Somehow, in those 8 years, we've cracked the top 15 by volume, but we still feel impossibly small. And the other 205-ish that are smaller than us are anywhere from a little bit smaller to a crazy amount smaller. And on top of all of that, we've gone from having really 2 big breweries in the state, Boston Beer being one of them, Harpoon being the other, to now having, probably 10, 12 other breweries that rank pretty highly on a national scale. Not top 50, but
You're
certainly
nodding
top
along,
100.
Jennifer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I really think a lot of it is consumer driven. Beer in Massachusetts has gotten more and more local over the last, my exposure in the state, at least as a consumer, goes on the better part of 20 years. But local, when Castle Island was started, was, hey, you're brewed in Massachusetts. And 2 years into that, it was, hey, you're brewed in eastern Massachusetts. And 2 years after that, it was, hey, you're brewed 20 miles away. And today, local is like, you're brewed within 5 miles or less. And the definition has just changed dramatically. And what that means for brewery size is there are a lot of smaller breweries that are, for all intents and purposes, operating more like coffee shops because they serve a really tightly knit community.
Yeah.
And that's it. And honestly, I think it's a great thing because it puts more quality beer in front of more consumers and helps further the mission that we're all out here striving to make.
Yeah, can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
So with our Brewing the American Dream program, which we're in our 15th year, I'm really excited to say we just hit $100 million loaned in that 15 years to food and beverage and breweries, entrepreneurs all around the country, which is incredible. But that's what we see. The majority of the breweries in our program are very small. And, just in the work with the BA, knowing that it's not just in Massachusetts, you have the majority are very small, and there's a few really large, and there's very few in that middle area. And these very small breweries need visibility. They need, and that's a lot of the program we do. It's a lot of that mentoring that we give, but it's that visibility that we can help bring. And I think that's what's so exciting is people now almost, I forget what the number was, and not just in Massachusetts, but there's so many people who have a brewery within like 3 or 4 miles of where they live, in areas. And I think that's exciting because it is keeping people interested in beer.
Sam, I believe Jack's Abbey opened in 2011, is that correct? And at that time, you had your launch event at Cambridge Common. I went to that event, and I listened to your brother, who I had met previously when he was brewing at Boston Beer Works, where he complained about the quality of his beer. And then he opened Jack's Abbey, and he complained about the quality of his beer. He's never happy. He's always trying to push it forward. But I also met you that day.
Fault.
And he and Sam just said, like, how old were you when Jack's Abbey opened in 2011?
Yeah, I was 21.
And I met you at 21, and unlike Adam, who was also 21 at the time.
Right now. Adam's 21 right now.
You literally were wide-eyed, and I remember talking to you, and you're just like, I don't know if we bleep these things or not, but he's like,
No, we don't.
I literally have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I think was what you told me. And then you went on to become one of the leaders in the Commonwealth in craft beer and brewing, and have recently, in the last couple of years, I was very proud to be, at the Craft Brewers Conference when we were seeing you awarded a national award for helping to defend craft beer in the Commonwealth and beyond. You went from a wide-eyed 21-year-old with absolutely no no background whatsoever in craft beer. Like, how has that journey been for you? Do you feel jaded now? Do you feel broken down by the system that we're in? Or are you, and obviously we're at a point where we see not a lot of growth going on right now. You've seen ups and downs. You've been through pandemics. You have children who are escaping from their beds. Like, all of these things. What is, how are you today? Like, how are you feeling both mentally and about where things, hey, you let me co-host the show. It's your fault. Yeah, it's like,
Are we about to have a therapy session?
we are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a wild ride. It's I'm a 90s kid, so I was 21 when the brewery opened. I at this point have only worked for this company and the company I grew up in that my grandfather started and dad and uncle ran when I was growing up. So I don't know any better as to how the business should be operated, just how the Hendlers operate a business, which I'm sure has a lot of positives and negatives. But yeah, like a lot of it has been joyful. A lot of it has been really hard. I mean, it's hard to talk about the last 3.5 years without pointing out that parts of it were miserable and anxiety was through the roof, and we were working in person in an environment where most of the people here, their friends just got to work from home, and we were, we saw about 3/4 of our business shut down one night in March of 2020. And we had to figure out how to survive that. And that was a dynamic that we never were faced with, right? It was like, how fast are we going to grow was the main question in the first 9 years or so of our existence. And then all of a sudden that flipped to how are we going to survive to next month? I feel like we have seen a lot. I think we are entering a different phase of the craft beer industry that, there's a certain galvanizing force around that experience of March 2020. Like, the rug has been pulled out from under us, and we're all going to band together to figure out a way to survive. That's a very unifying message. I think from where I stand right now, we're talking about our budget for 2024, and we're probably going to budget like a 1% growth or 2% growth for next year. How do I motivate a team and get everybody psyched to go crush 1% and work hard for 1% and be proud of 1% and be like, it's a very different phase, and it's something that I'm grappling with myself. How do I be excited about going and hitting 1% growth for next year? That, I think, in this environment would be a heck of an accomplishment, and I don't know, it's definitely a very different phase that we're going into, one that I don't necessarily feel prepared for, but I am kind of excited to learn how to manage a business through a period that's going to be choppy and not necessarily existential the way March 2020 was, which was a easy unifying message to put out there, but more like, how do we thrive in an environment that's just kind of challenging and overall flat for the industry?
And we have seen the Jack's Abbey business change quite a bit over the years, and it's iterated, and like obviously during the good times, there was money to spend on trying new things, and one of the things was Springdale, which we, as we were driving in, we realized the other side of this building that we're in the Jack's Abbey Beer Hall, was sort of the Springdale facility. And for those who don't know, that was the name of the original Hendler family business, and from their original location, just down the street here in Framingham. But this company has gone all in on lagers, and you see the word lager, it warms my heart on hoodies and hats and every glass in this space basically as a craft lager. But Springdale did try to do some hazies for a while and some sour beers and some low alcohol beers and some other things for some time. we have been for years and years and years been talking and heralding it. This is the year of the lager. This is the year of the lager. Why has and frankly, I've been doing that for basically since Adam was 3 years old.
Who's now making award-winning hazies and
but
which we'll talk about. Like this must be weird for you being up here, around all the lager people.
A little out of body.
Yeah. But for Sam, like, I understand that lager has always been a long passion of Jack's, but how have you guys decided to make that the big focus of this company? And obviously it has been for a long time, but really now doubled down on lager beer. And how do you see the future of that going for both yourself and, as we're seeing, a lot of Pilsners and a lot of Dunkels and a lot of Czech style dark lagers out in a lot of the breweries that Adam's talking about through the community?
Yeah, it is funny. I think this is the 7th year in a row that we've gotten those media inquiries about, is this the year of the lager, the craft lager? And, to a certain extent, I think we are seeing more excitement around lager than ever before. I would still mention, like, if you do look at the data, it's hard to make a super strong case about year of the lager.
Jesus Christ, Sam. I set you up. You just have to say it's the year of the lager, Sam. If Jax won't say it's the year of the lager, it is never going to be the year of the lager.
Jennifer, is this the year of the lager?
I say that every year to our marketing team. And
there you go.
Look at me.
See,
like,
Jennifer.
Okay.
But I also love
Jennifer got the email.
Jennifer early on talked about all kinds of products and everything. So there's obviously seltzers, and there's ciders, and there's teas. There was a long drink for a minute. There's been some other things. I mean, when I think of Sam Adams, I think of Boston Lager. Is it still the way that I imagine it being, just the stalwart, just kind of chugging along, pushing through the fog?
It is chugging along. And one thing we found over the past couple of years that people wanted to go for beers or beer styles that they knew and trusted, especially if they're going in and out of the store very quickly. So while there's been declines and slight increases, actually Boston Lager has been pretty steady for us.
Okay.
And that's, to me, that's a good sign. The remastered. Yep, but also just in general, I think it's just something that it's a classic that people know. I have found in our tap rooms, I was really excited 20 years ago when people were like, oh, an ale or lager, and that you didn't have to educate them. They were actually learning about it, and you're like, this is so exciting. As a brewery, you're like, yeah, they get it. Nobody talks about that anymore that comes into the tap room. They either know and they just know what they want, or they'll say, I have a Pilsner, like, oh, we have other lagers, and they might be like, oh, I don't really like lagers, I'm just gonna have the Pilsner. So I'm like, well, great, they're still gonna have a Pilsner, we're good. But
like,
so I think that
have you read Andy's book?
Hey, God bless, that's fine. Yeah, nobody needs to drink lager, just drink Pilsner. It's fine.
Just not to kiss ass here for a second, but
go ahead.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Go for it.
We've been drinking.
If you want a transcendent experience,
yeah,
try Boston Lager on side pull faucet. I had it at their JP brewery a few weeks ago for an event that I was at. It was the most incredible and different yet familiar Boston Lager I've ever had. It was amazing. So a product that's that legendary still has new tricks. It's really cool.
Can I ask you, though, so the trust that you talk about, Adam, you're making hazy pales and the New England style and winning awards for it, as I pointed out, and really sort of making a name for your brewery through that style. My complaint about, not your beer, but that overall style.
We're going there.
Whoa.
Hey, because I'm about to jump down the table and fight you, because I would also say Castle Island is one of my favorite breweries in the Boston area, besides the fact, hey, no, quiet down, New Jersey. I'm going to talk to you about Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll love this. The space there is eclectic. It's beautiful in South Boston. You can take issue with the fact that it's a brewery is called Castle Island, and it basically is in Norwood. That's a whole other story. There's a background to it. But he's finally found his way back home.
I love that all of the Commonwealth residents are laughing, and I'm like,
But it's like he's found his way back home to a place that has some familial history for him. And if you have not been to the Castle Island Brewery,
I haven't because you haven't brought me.
I will take you there, my friend. And they're doing incredible sour beer, incredible fruit flavor beer. Like they're just doing some really eclectic stuff there that I think is beyond the traditional lineup that they put out. So I think that you have undersold them, and you owe Adam an apology. Is what I'm saying.
I didn't get to finish my question, and this is why. This is why I host the show alone. Normally,
it's your fault.
Absolutely. I'm going to own that right now. Lesson learned. But you talk about trust, and the issue that I've had with a lot of the New England style IPAs has been they're kind of one note, or it's a brewer that says, okay, I'm going to do it because it's a popular style.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? There is no one who's ever said that New England IPAs are one note. They use the same 3 hops in different order. You see it on the menu. They change the names. Come on, sir.
All right, you've redeemed yourself. How do you build trust for a New England style IPA that is worthy of a glass, that is worthy of folks putting down their hard-earned money for a 4-pack? When you're in an arena where there's a lot of mediocrity that exists in the beer space right now, in that common denominator beer, like what have you guys put in to earn that trust, and what can other breweries, or should other breweries, be learning from what you all are doing? Because I know what Jennifer's brewery is doing. I know what Sam's brewery is doing in the lager space. Like, if you're not ready to show up for your lager game, it's pretty obvious early on. And, like, just get the hell out. But New England IPA, hazy IPA, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and...
See where I went with that, Andy? Yeah.
I could sit here and talk to you about quality.
About 3 hops in different orders?
About 3 hops in different orders and different amounts. And quality's important. There's a lot of quality hazy IPAs out there. There are unfortunately a lot of hazy IPAs that don't quite meet the quality mark. But something that we've always focused on, not just for our hazy or New England style IPAs, but really for all of our beers and even our portfolio, because as Andy points out, we do some sours, we even do some lagers, we do some stouts. Yeah. We kind of don't pigeonhole ourselves really into any one style, but something that we do throughout all of our beers, we focus on balance, we focus on drinkability, repeatability. I'm not going to use the word sessionability because that implies a low alcohol content, but something that you can just drink, something that is a go-to, something that you're not going to have one to be like, hey, that was really cool. Now I'm going to drink something I can actually drink.
Right.
Because
I got my badge.
Yeah, like if you're a ticker, we're not the brewery for you. We focus on beers where we're like, hey, this is my beer. This is what I drink. It's always in my fridge. If you're not a hazy IPA guy, if you're a West Coast IPA drinker, we've got that. If you like New England IPAs, we got that too. But these are your go-to beers. It's not, wow, that was really crazy. I'm on to the next one. That's not us, because for me, trust is that long relationship with the customer. And it's really about earning their, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess
authenticity?
Authenticity, their affinity, but
I've been talking a lot about brewing with intent.
Yeah. I think intentional brewing, unfortunately these days, is a little bit harder to find.
I also think that you're selling yourself short. I think you guys are a ticker brewery. Not like by total design, that's not what your essence is, but I think when I come into your space and you often have a jalapeno beer or a spiced beer, something that is like a little bit, that is heat, there's flavor. I think whenever I'm in there, I find something that engages my palate in new ways that I have not experienced, and I've been around this game a little while, and I think you guys are doing fantastic stuff, which I will then transition me into a question for Jennifer. One of the best beers I've had in the last year was a beer that I helped award a GABF medal to. Was my first time judging a GABF this year. It was a really interesting experience in a terrible hot warehouse in just outside of Denver, and we were stuck there for days, like we were platooned on some terrible island with a bunch of old white men. But the Pina Colada IPA was absolutely is not my style. I absolutely hate everything about the generalized
Who
style.
said boo?
Oh, no, whoever you did, get out. Get out of this lager house.
Jamie McGee.
It was one of the best beers I've had in the past year, and it was fantastic. Like, it's such an engaging, interesting beer, and it just shows, like, Sam Adams is, Boston Beer has been at this a very long time, and they do a whole lot of different things. And obviously with the remastered lager, but it still shows that the innovation is there. And it was nothing that was made with coconut or nothing that was necessarily made with pineapple. They didn't throw fruit into it, but that beer was beautiful and expressive and really felt like I should be sitting on an island in a way that I could drink, and I drink it whenever. And so while Adam was drinking beautiful side pour lagers at that event, I was also there, and I just sat myself aside with a beautiful hazy pint of that Pina Colada IPA, and I loved it.
What was the question?
Can you
got the question,
can you make more and send it to my house?
I got the question.
Okay, you need a question?
Well, I have to tell you, so we were walking up because we had won gold for Just the Haze. This is a really exciting year for us at
Your
Grand
NA.
Beer Festival for our non-alcoholic. And Wade and I were walking up, and all of a sudden they announced that, and he goes, "Holy shit!" And I go, "Dude," because they didn't know that I had entered that beer. But I was like, "This is such a great beer." And I will tell you, when I started 21 years ago, I remember asking, and I was fresh out of brewing school, like, well, I don't understand, why don't we bring in more yeast strains? And Jim's like, we're not ready for that yet. Like, so we would make a white ale with herbs and spices to replicate flavors, right? So that's the creative piece we love doing. So I think, I love that you brought that up, because that beer now we've made it several times because people ask about it all the time. And it was kind of a beer where we're like, hey, let's just experiment. It's a little bit, out there, but in terms of flavor and pina colada. But when you see in the tap rooms, like you're talking about, you want to have a wide variety, and it's either low elk, lower elk, really higher elk, or you have that, it has to have some interesting ingredient or catch like that, and that's what people are interested in today, and I think that's really cool.
And we see so many of those beers that are overly sweet, cloying, or just a mess, and they've thrown sugar and donuts and whatever other crap into it. This was a beer that, to my understanding, talking with Megan Parisi, the head brewer at the downtown location, that's not how this was designed. And so it was designed very traditionally, despite being a pina colada. Yeah, you're down there, you're like, hey, I am someone who's a traditionalist to my core.
They're
but I
at
gotta tell
high
you, yes. Yeah. Hey, pina colada IPA, tradition now.
Okay, we call it vacation
Jimmy
IPA
Buffett,
because we were calling it
brewmaster.
pina colada. Nobody wants the pina colada. We called it vacation IPA.
I'm loving it.
But that kind of works. Yeah. You brought up NA. I had like 4 different ways that I could go, but I want to sort of touch on NA because Just the Haze from you guys surprised me. And I wrote about this in Wine Enthusiast, where Sam Adams for a very, very long time did not excel at hops. Like when I think about the IPAs, I think of Rebel, and I think of some of the others that you put out over the years, and it's like,
Shots fired.
I'm not wrong.
Right next to me. Can't
I'm
miss
not
me.
wrong. I've written about it. I'm not going to hide behind it. So when I had the Just the Haze from Sam Adams as an NA and rated it very high because it's a lot of fun to drink and it hits those notes, where does NA fit in to your larger portfolio? And then Sam, I want to go to you.
Yes.
Because you guys had that 2%, 3% beer project back in the day that was delightful.
100%.
That I would wish to go back. And then Adam, for your size, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3.
Yes,
Like,
Adam, why aren't you doing this?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to ask
Or
you. You'll get there, son.
Adam, Adam, the question will be to you, like, where does it fit in for a brewery of your size? But where do you see it for a brewery of your size, Jennifer?
I mean, when we see folks and the people that are coming, the 21-year-olds of the world are coming in.
They're all just like, give me your
they're
utopias, I'm going to do a barrel stand.
That was maybe us when we were 21.
Yeah.
But now they want to drink lower alcohol and non-alc. So it's become more important than we thought it would. It was for us, it was a great R&D project. How do we make something that doesn't taste like it's a non-alc? Last year at the JBF, I had these chalkboards. We were writing the name, and I couldn't fit non-alc on the bottom, so I was like, whatever. And people started coming up and tasting it, and then they're like, oh wait, so where do I get this? And we're like, well, it's non-alc, and they're like, really? And that was actually a really cool experience.
Were they
for
going
me.
up to Bob Pease and asking for their money back? Like, I don't understand that. I came to the Great American
Well, I was
Beer
like, we should
Festival.
bring it because
Yeah.
some people would want to try it. So it was actually a cool experiment.
No,
I
it's
didn't know
great,
I was
yeah.
doing, and I think it's become a larger part of our what we're focused on. We just released Gold Rush, which is a golden ale that's non-alc too. So I definitely see the drinker interested. I've asked, in working with the BA, like, what are you seeing for numbers? It's too early to tell because it's just really become, in the last year and a half, something that's more breweries are making it. They're tracking now. Like, we can tell from our
But
sales.
there's also companies that are not falling into the BA definition of brewers
Correct.
that are making it
Correct.
as
Yep.
well.
Yep,
Yeah.
that is correct. But it's definitely become something we're focused on. I think it's really fun to make a beer for people who don't want to drink alcohol that tastes like a real beer.
And I'll continue along with the lines of what John was talking about. Sam, both John and I got to enjoy, and I'm not sure that the 2% project, which I think is what it was called.
Was it called the 2% Project?
I think it was the 2% project, made it out to market or got too far afield, but I remember having some of those. And this is where, as I've gotten older, I've been in this business for a while, I've drank lager for a long time. I live in the basically 5% and under, 4% and under category, and that is what I will focus on in a menu. I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of drinkers who are looking for bang for your buck, 8, 9%, and are happy in the double IPA category. For me, it's the lower alcohol stuff. So if you can manage flavor at those lower alcohol levels, I think that is the pinnacle of brewing prowess. Like, if you're able to achieve that, it's great. And I know that your brother was interested in that for a while. I don't know if there's a market for it or not, and I'm not sure if it fits where in the lineup. But can you talk a little bit about your experience with that and whether Jax is looking at maybe getting into NA or doing NA stuff? You're like, or no, I'm not going to tell you. We'll see.
Yeah, it's after the baby maker comes the 2% beer.
See,
project.
find you a guy who can do both things.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2% was a really fun project. It was. Oh, excuse me.
That's fine.
How do we
I
get
have been motioning at Andy for the entire show to be like, hey, just have Sam just turn the mic. Yeah.
There we go.
Beautiful.
So,
Lovely.
Yeah, it was how much flavor can we pack into a really low ABV final product? And we had some really wonderful beer come through that project. What we never found was a commercial fit for it. It never sold particularly well, basically to say. So
You're saying there was not a massive line out the door waiting for beer nerds ready to trade 2% alcohol, like brown ale?
That line did not come to fruition.
I'm shocked at that.
Weird.
I'm shocked.
Weird.
For us, it was the question was, is this kind of a tweener that's not fully meeting any of the consumer's needs? It's not NA, but it's also not going to give you much of a buzz, no matter how much of it you drink. So we ended up unwinding that. I do think NA is really interesting. We've been working with, we've been piloting different NA projects. For us, a part of it is we're Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. We want to deliver on wonderful lagers. The techniques that can make wonderful lager NA beer are a challenge. We really like fermentation. We want that fermentation profile in our beer. And when we were using different yeast strains that would kind of arrest fermentation or give us a very, very low alcohol content under 0.5%, it was coming along with other flavor profiles that we didn't feel like met the lager profile. So I guess it's something that still fascinates us, that we're very, very interested in, and just haven't quite found the right fit in our portfolio for it with the way we want to make beer.
All right, so Adam, take the mic, because I'm curious from your brewery perspective where NA fits into your portfolio.
Yeah, so like Sam said, I find the category very interesting, but we have not really internally found much of a passion for it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say
Because you're only 21.
because we're only 21 and we're just getting started, baby.
He's all about the
You
nine.
just started drinking. You're like, why are you taking alcohol away from me?
We're
He's
newly
like-
legal.
Yeah.
We haven't found the boundaries
How
yet.
weird is
Hold
it
on,
for
I
you
just
to
heard
be
about. He
on
just heard
with
about
all
Baby
these
Maker.
40-year-olds?
He's all in.
I think for us, part of the challenge is at our scale, the technology required to actually produce an NA beer that still has flavor, still has aroma, still has, as I like to talk about, a little bit of love and a little bit of soul, is kind of out of reach. It's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly labor intensive. It takes up a lot of space. If it's not going to be commercially successful, it doesn't make a lot of financial sense. But the real stopgate for us has just been, it's not something we're super charged up about.
Yeah.
We do a fair amount of contract brewing, and we actually get a lot of inquiries. So I can tell you without a doubt that there is a lot of interest from breweries our size and even smaller in NA beer. But I don't think anyone's really found the commercial success path for it yet. I think they're watching the Athletics of the world, and they're watching the Just the Hazes of the world and saying, oh, that's cool, I want to do that too. But at our size, smaller, and even for some breweries that are larger than us, it just still doesn't make sense yet.
Is Just the Haze, has that broken into something that you all see a future in? Maybe?
Yes, well, we're making it.
Yeah.
No, it does. I mean, you know, it's
There's 4 guys in Schenectady.
I will say, 4 guys. You know, what's really cool is we see it at a lot of our friendly brewers tap rooms because they don't have it on elk, so they're serving Just the Haze, which is great because they'll give us feedback too, like, oh my God, you know, this is what we're hearing, this is great. So we like that feedback as well. But in our both Boston tap rooms that we have, the one at the brewery and the one in Faneuil Hall, it's in the top 25 all the time of sold beers out of. So let's just say from Q1 and Q2, if we had 200 different beers on draft, it was like 27. I actually looked it up last week. So
All right.
it was number 27. So that just shows that people are drinking it. It could be curiosity, you know, but people are interested. And we're seeing that just as a trend. I would agree, like when we're coaching brewers in our program, you know, I wouldn't make that like a focus. I think the business isn't quite there yet that I would take away from other things that you're trying to do in a business.
Where's cherry wheat these days?
That needs more love too. Cherry wheat is still around.
It's
Number
still
3.
around. Yep.
Number 3. Hugely popular.
Oh, Fezziwig.
Fezziwig, I know.
Old-
Well, you know
Alright.
what though?
Yeah.
Wait,
Alright.
like a lot of beer styles, everybody always says like, you should make this. It should be individual. It should be in a 6-pack. Then buy
have
it,
said
because
that.
if you did
Hey.
that, it would be in a 6-pack.
You
Just-
guys
hey.
never did
Well, we
though.
make it on
If
draft.
we're doing this, we're gonna do this. Where's my double bock? That's it. Oh, my
Already-
double bock.
Dude, Double Buck. Double Buck needs to come back.
Has
That is one of my favorite
Fezziwig-
beers we've ever made.
Has
ever.
Agreed.
Fezziwig ever been in a standalone 6-pack?
Yeah, that's how it started.
When?
And then we discontinued it, and then people
well
were
before
outraged.
Adam was
Way
born.
before
They
Adam
they
came.
sold
Way
literally
before Adam was born.
6s
But no,
and
now
10s
we brew
of
it.
that.
Now we brew it at the brewery in Boston. We started brewing it for ourselves, to
Right.
drink, and then we were like, oh, we'll serve it at our holiday party, and then people would be on tour like, is that old Fezziwig? And so we do have it on draft at our locations in
I want
in
to
the
say that when
Commonwealth.
Andy and I started our thing, I wrote a thing about you guys not putting it in the variety pack and being mad at
people
it.
were so
No, he
mad.
was
And
rip
your
shit. He was
PR
rip
firm
shit about
was
it.
calling me and being like, I think you should be a little bit nicer. I was like, I think you guys
No.
should have put
You weren't
Fezziwig
the
in
only
the
one.
back.
And we literally got no one responded to
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Nobody had that.
There-
opinion.
Does that happen?
There was 2 page views, and it was me and Andy.
Yeah, we
and
basically
it was
that.
pretty
'Cause
great. All
he-
right, but seasonality. We're in Oktoberfest season, and Jack's Abbey, as best I can tell, you all have 3 fest beers out right now.
Super popular style.
Sam Adams has had theirs out since February.
Yes, it's
It
basically
just never stops. We just keep
no.
going.
It is a year-round beer. It has replaced pumpkin.
Year-round beer. No, but Jennifer, and then I'll jump to Sam.
Wait, I like that we get blamed for the seasonal creep all the time. It's like,
100%. That was all Diamandis back in the day. Was
I feel like
"Oh,
I
this is what
literally,
we're doing."
I think I
Yeah.
saw like a photo of Ryan Reynolds recently coming out of like a Costco with a Sam Adams like Oktoberfest pack, and I was like, guess what? Nailed it.
Guess what?
Nailed
Oktoberfest season.
it. It is.
Welcome to
I mean,
Oktoberfest.
people are buying it. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do seasonals still play a big role in the beer side of things that you all are doing?
It's huge right now.
Okay.
Seasonals. I mean, we've had our core seasonals and all these sort of one-offs that we've had, but the 4 core seasonals, we're spending a lot of time on that. It's just, and I would say like when we're looking at our taproom numbers, those are like Boston Lager, seasonal, always in the top 5.
Okay.
So we're definitely seeing that. We're seeing that seasonals growth has been double-digit growth for us as a company over the past year.
Is Oktoberfest still like kind of running that game?
It is. It's the shortest out. So if you look at
Sure,
volume numbers,
yeah.
but yeah, Oktoberfest is
Sure.
like because it's very limited. It's
Yeah.
I know it seems like it's out all year, but it used to be 8 weeks. It's still almost only 8 weeks because it comes out now, and it's gone usually by the middle of October.
Full disclosure, I would always get the Oktoberfest Sam Adams press release when it was still spring. It'd be like mid-March, and it'd be like, guess what? Oktoberfest is coming out from Sam Adams. And I'd be like, God damn it, like, let us get to summer first.
No,
Like,
but that
please,
has to do with journalism and magazine.
I was gonna say, isn't that like the fashion
that is
industry?
totally
You gotta get ahead of
understandable.
the season?
which I'm not familiar with either of those things.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not.
All right,
No,
but-
I have to tell you, my dad, I went to visit my parents, and he had 10 cases of Oktoberfest in the garage, and I'm like, I didn't bring this. Where did he get this? I'm like, Dad, where'd you get all this Oktoberfest? He goes, oh, well, I was at the liquor store, and the guy told me these are the last 10 cases, and he knows you're a brewer there, and I'm like, so why did you buy them? You should have left them for the customers. He goes, what if you didn't bring me these, and what would I do? Like, and I was like, okay, my dad is like.
So your dad is
talented.
drinking
Yeah, he was in-
Oktoberfest
yeah.
year-round?
No, because I'm strict on codes in our house. Much to any families or friends' chagrin.
You're just standing,
they're like,
you're
what are you
standing
doing?
in
I'm
the
like,
driveway
we're
just
not
breaking
drinking
bottles.
this.
Everything's
We're not
going down the
drinking
drain. He's like, Jim's going to write you a check for these things. Don't worry. We're taking these bottles back.
Sam, you guys have 3 fest beers out this year.
There's only one question. Here's the question. Do you think that's enough? Do you think there should have been more? I feel like that's not enough.
I think there should have been more.
There you go. Right answer.
Jennifer, is
Why
there
are
a
you not
market for
applauding?
more?
Can you have too many fest beers? I don't know.
Yeah. So you guys have 3. So you've done the research saying, okay, this market that we're in can support 3 different Martins and
Fest beers.
Fest beers, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely would not.
Commonwealth.
Call them
The
Martins.
Commonwealth can
Yes.
support. Yeah.
No. Yeah, they're not all Märtzens, though.
No, they're not all Martins. But 3, was there a strategic thought about what you were putting in?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What would
If
be
he
the
tells you there
purpose of
was,
that?
he is lying.
Was this Jack just like saying, hey, this is what I did, and then you just sit down at your desk and
said,
just put your head down
Shit.
and say, oh, God.
So Munich Fest, Copper Legend is our largest seasonal of the year. That's our Oktoberfest.
And it's a great beer.
Thank
Yeah.
you. We love that beer. It is, yeah. Munich Fest has been a running joke for a long time. That is a beer that Jack brews for Jack. His birthday is October 6th. And
That's
he
after
would-
Oktoberfest ends. Yeah.
It is, but he would not tell anybody and brew Munich Fest every single year.
Okay.
And on the sales side of the org, like we finally got smart and like just built it into our plan that Munich Fest is going to exist. But that was after like 5 years of being surprised that Munich Fest was being packaged this week and we needed to sell 50 barrels of it.
Surprise!
And then, yeah.
That's what happens after Baby Maker.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fest beer number 3 for us this year
It's
is
the
one of the
Weihenstephaner.
coolest things we've ever done. We're
Yeah.
collaborating with Weihenstephaner, and we're incredibly proud of this beer. We love the way it came out. This just got packaged. We're really, really excited about it. But yeah, I will say it was not a hard sell to go to Fest beer number 3
Yeah.
on the Jack's Abbey staff. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can do 4 next year. We'll see.
That's the
You heard it
attitude.
here first, folks. All right, Adam, I want to ask you, though, where do seasonals fit into...
Well, hold on. Does Adam make an Oktoberfest beer?
Well, Andy, according to you, we make one of everything.
You do, but do you make a fest beer?
We do. We've actually got a new one coming out this year.
Nice.
More Zen. It's an Imperial Fest beer. Yeah, we decided to up the ante a little bit, and we're going to 8% with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I used to support this brewery, and now I have to. Now I don't. That was it. I'm leaving.
Where do seasonals fit in for you? For a while, it was what's new, what's rare, what's local kind of thing, and rare, new and rare would fall into to your scope. But what do you find people want these days as far as seasonality?
It's weird. For breweries our scale, we're sort of living in this in-between land right now where it's not seasonals that are around for like a 2, 3, sometimes 4-month stretch. And it's not rare like it's around for 2, 3, 4-week stretch. It's somewhere in between. For us, 6 to 8 weeks seems to be the sweet spot. And so we're still using the term limited, and I feel like it's all semantics, right? Limited, seasonal, one-off, rotating. But that's kind of where we've found success. So for us, we look at, right now, this year, 2023, we've got 5 different, we call them limited releases. 2024 will be the same. But seasonal for breweries at our scale still, unfortunately, seems to be a little bit of a dirty word, where the Boston Beers of the world can totally own it. Even Jack Sabby's doing a great job with it. But for us, seasonal, we still get some pushback. So take that for what you will.
Okay.
But I think people are super excited when they come in. They're like, oh, they don't have that anymore. Oh, but look, they have this fest lager or something. Like, I feel like that's what drinkers want. As much as they know, like the Oktoberfest, that we had that commercial with the guy hugging it, like it comes out. We know that that's our Oktoberfest drinker, but I find like I love being like, oh, it's out. I'm kind of bummed. I love that. But now they have this other one. And I think that's what we're seeing too is people do want to do that. So the seasonal creep should be shorter for all of us.
Yes.
Indeed.
Also, can I congratulate American brewers on reinvigorating and frankly saving Oktoberfest beer? The Germans have, sorry, not to this dead silent response. No one is believing that.
Welcome to Hot Takes with Andy Crouch.
German breweries for a long time have made really trash Oktoberfest beers, especially the larger breweries. They've got their 2 different styles. They got their Fest beer, they've got their Märzen beer, and frankly, their Fest beer is just a slight derivative of maybe
wrong.
Helles or something along those lines. It's quite drinkable. It's a lovely beer. It's the beer you're going to drink at Oktoberfest. It's the beer that John's going to drink at Oktoberfest this year when he goes for his first time in his fitted lederhosen. We will put a photo of John in his lederhosen in the show notes so you can watch that. That's.
Interesting that you said that because we would bring Oktoberfest over for hop selection, and a lot of the hop growers would tell us in Germany that this is what Fest beer used to taste like.
Yes.
It has
In
so
my
much flavor.
day.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were 21.
But now you try from a lot of the larger breweries, the Märzen style frankly just feels like a version of their Fest beer with some sort of Cinnamar, slightly less dark Cinnamar food coloring to it. And it's kind of garbagey. American craft brewers, you should thank them because they've largely saved the Oktoberfest style from the Germans who have kind of abandoned it. So anyways, congratulations to all of you on this panel, including especially Sam Adams for really kind of pioneering that. Woo! But you're not going to find a lot of these breweries doing, you see places like Paul Anner or Hackershore, they're doing their normal Fest beer, and then the other ones that they're doing are exported to the United States because there's no market for it at home. So congratulations to American craft brewers for saving Oktoberfest.
Woo! Adam, I want to go to you really fast at the end because we build this as the state of beer in Massachusetts, and have almost talked about none of what's going on.
I think it's called the Commonwealth of Beer in Massachusetts.
Yes, thank you, John.
The state of beer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
It's the Commonwealth of Beer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, John.
All right, fine. Good night, everybody. No. What does the next year look like in the legislative initiative, the legislative fight, the legislative, what you need to see done for your members that are not only, your 4 walls, but everybody else's that you're representing? What comes next?
Yeah, so the big gorilla, which we referred to earlier, was franchise law reform, which got done in 2021. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam Adams, for all of your help on that front as well. But it doesn't mean that
franchise law.
Doesn't mean that our work is done. We've got 2 legislative priorities that we're pushing forward this year. The first is the ability to sell at farmers markets, which right now is a privilege that wineries enjoy, but breweries and even distilleries do not, which is insane because consumers don't distinguish like that, and there's really no logic behind it. So we're pushing for the ability to sell at farmers markets for beer to go. The second priority that we're looking to get across the goal line this year is brewpub self-distribution. Because in the state of Massachusetts right now, the brewpub class of license has to go through a distributor to get their product out to other accounts, which sounds kind of simple, right? Except it's insane when you've got a brewpub that is located right next to, I don't know, call it a dive bar, and they want to sell their beer to that dive bar, and they have to ship their beer 50 miles away to a wholesaler, who then ships it 50 miles back next door to the place where it was brewed to sell it to said dive bar. Doesn't make a lot of sense, so we're trying to, again, put some common sense legislation in place and give that privilege to our brewpub members.
That's a noble cause, and
We'd like to think so.
no, I hope you guys keep fighting for it. Being mindful of time.
I hope we win. Our experience is we keep fighting forever. I hope we someday freaking win.
Oh, sure. All right.
John doesn't give a shit. Like he's from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey.
They got enough problems
We
down
have
there.
our own
Jesus Christ,
problems
Sam, you
in
want to talk
Jersey.
about problems? Let's talk about New Jersey's beer laws. You guys,
absolutely.
we're up here. We're great in the
We could
Commonwealth.
never do this show in Jersey because this would count as an event.
And you're also not allowed to have food anywhere near the brewery. If there is a baby who's trying to like snack on like a little thing,
Or be made.
the state comes
Or
in and
maybe be
smacks it out
made.
of their hands.
Yeah.
New Jersey hates babies.
You're so mean. You're so mean.
Your
You're
state's-
not wrong.
your state's the
You're
worst
not wrong,
on
but
beer
you're
laws.
so mean. All right. Being mindful of time, I've been asking the green door question on this show for quite a while now. Andy has answered, so I'm not going to get to him. But the premise is this. In the beginning of the pandemic, my wife and I started rewatching the television show The Good Place. And in the final season of The Good Place, they introduced the concept of the green door. And characters walked through the green door and could be anywhere at any time doing whatever they wanted to be doing. So if we had a green door on our plane of existence, and this really fun live audience podcast from Jack's ended, and you could walk through. That was really good and really abrupt. But ended, and you could walk through a green door and be in any pub or any brewery anywhere in the world. Where would you want to go? Who would you want to be with? And what would you like to be drinking? And Sam, I'm going to start with you because we're in your house.
Sorry, anywhere, anytime as
Yeah.
well?
Rob,
anybody.
Rob Day did zero favors for you setting you up for this. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, as a relatively new father, I totally selfishly, I'd love to walk through that green door and walk right into this brewery in 20 years and be sharing a beer with my daughters and teaching them how to run a brewery.
Wow. Smart. All right. Jennifer?
Whoa, I think I've hung out in a lot of cool places that I like to be drinking in. A particular place comes to mind called the Tilted Wig in Aberdeen, Scotland, that I just ran into on a rainy day there. But I loved it because not only did it have some great local Scottish beers, I know that seems weird, but there were some great local Scottish beers, but also some great whiskeys. We just spent hours there, just holed up on a rainy day, just was like quintessential Scotland. So I would love that. And then I would just love to be with my family. Enjoying with them, my kids and my husband and my parents and my nieces and nephew, everybody, and just enjoying time together.
I love that. Adam?
So 10 points to each of you for sentimentality.
Hufflepuff!
I'm going
I'm
to
by
take a different
myself.
path.
As being 21, I just want to go to Applebee's
Yeah,
for 2-for-1 shooters.
I'm just happy to be here, folks.
Let's go. If you couldn't tell from the palm trees on my shirt, my haircut, my flat brim hat, I'd love to go back to like San Diego late 2000s when like the San Diego style West Coast IPA was really coming around. making a note for itself. Those were the beers that got me interested in beer. Those were the beers that opened my eyes. Stuff like Sculpin, pre-acquisition, first acquisition. Stuff like Green Flash. Stuff like the first time I had Alpine. Alpine before they got acquired by Green Flash, and was like, holy shit, this is a beer.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that for me pulled back all the layers of the onion and told me that there's this really magical thing inside of beer. That's what inspired me. That's what I want to go back to.
You want to answer this question again, Andy?
I do, but I know we've asked you this before, and I know you have a pat answer, and I don't want to hear that pat answer again. I want you to give me, what's your second place?
My first answer
No,
was,
nobody gives a shit about your first answer. I asked you about your second answer. Answer the question asked.
it's Blind Tiger in New York City at
Where you go like twice a month.
at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday
Where I've been there with you.
with whoever is around
You
for
really-
like 9 hours. But the caveat is the next morning I feel like I wasn't at Blind Tiger on a Tuesday.
Yes, there's the answer. That's spoken like
Where
a
I
true
don't-
Let
like
me
father
know.
of a 6-year-old
Where I
who just
don't
looks at a
lose
beer and
the
gets
whole thing.
hungover. I know that feeling.
Because we have a great audience, I'm going to ask one last question. And it comes from Jennifer's bio, where Jennifer said that she is passionate about brewing traditional and lost beer styles.
Like Pina Colada IPA.
All right. What is a traditional and or lost beer style that deserves to be in the forefront these days? Andy Crouch.
Oh, this is to me? That's not fair. I thought Jennifer was going to get this. What is that? Can I go the other way and say that like things like Grodzisky should not exist on this planet?
Nope. Oh!
Hot take. Sorry.
Sam
It's-
Hendler.
I'm sorry that it's trash sour hot dog water, but like it is, folks. So if you've been drinking it, people have been
not.
stealing your money.
Campfire was a beer that Sam Adams did years ago. That was a wonderful, wonderful Rauch beer, and that they're never going to bring back because it didn't sell at all in the mix pack. No, what do you want?
Old traditional styles that are not being brewed.
Yeah.
You know, frankly, like how about just ones like Dunkelweizen?
All right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we see that on occasion around it, but I think that is the perfect summer beer. I know it's not antique or like gone from.
That's fine.
But I think Dunkelweizen might be
All
nice.
right. You've given Sam a chance to think about his answer now. Sam Hendler.
Yeah, I mean, just give me more Pilsner and I'm happy. Can that be a traditional style that I want more of?
All right. Adam.
All right, so old traditional style that nobody makes anymore.
Jennifer
those
says
are parameters.
she's passionate about brewing traditional and lost beer styles.
I'm not
Oh,
sure,
lost
I'm not sure
beer
I said that
styles.
tonight, but okay.
Lost beer styles? Okay. West Coast IPA.
That is, yeah, that's the right answer.
Jennifer, what do you want to bring back?
Oof. I mean, I do like the double buck. I think there could be more double bucks in the world. That was, to me, that's one of the best beers we've ever made. I really got inspired by like the Finnish sati style, and we actually made it traditional with the juniper and the branches. And I remember Dean was like, "We're putting what in here?" And I was like, "No, we have to make it the traditional way." So part of that is the history of it too. Like I liked it too when I started brewing. Women made that beer, so I like the whole history. I'm a history geek, so I like bringing it all together. So I think that's a style, and those types of styles that are just not as popular. But I would agree, things like the double bock, the Weiss beer. A lot of people are making Weiss beer.
Yeah.
Are they Weiss beers or not? Because if you've had a lot in
ESB.
Germany, they're great.
They're
So
not.
I just think there's a lot of styles that are very old traditional styles.
I
that
thought
people
you were
can
going to
make
say
more.
oyster stout. And
I do like oyster stout.
I
but
know.
all the brewers in the UK were like, "That's not even a real thing." Like, you should. And Jim told me, just make a good stout and pair it. I'm like, "Oh no, dude, we're making it with oysters."
we're making an oyster stout. Awesome. All right, that's going to wrap us here at Jack's Abbey for our State of Beer in Massachusetts conversation. Kind of.
Thank you.
State of Beer in Massachusetts.
Commonwealth.
State as it's fine. I want to thank our guests, everybody here who's been hanging out, the entire team at Jack's Abbey, but especially Kate Preston and Rob Day. Art, thank you as well. Where should we go next? You should tell me. You can email me at John Holl. It's John, JOHNHOLL at allaboutbeer.com, or you can tell me on X, which is apparently now a thing, at John_Holl. I'm pointing at Andy
I've never like seen
Andy's
you
like,
be older there, but I love you, man. I love you. Like the social media thing.
Yeah.
You blew your last line.
No, that's your line. That's also how you can get in touch with questions, comments, and guest suggestions.
Okay, you've been walking over my lines all day. But a reminder to visit allaboutbeer.com. You can check out the podcast page, the merch page, which John has told me to change to the shop page.
The shop
yeah, because he
page.
thinks that the kids would prefer that. I think I understand what merch
You
is, but
want
it's fine.
merch or shop? Then buy it.
Well, that was totally illuminating. Thank you, guys. And you can read great new content as well as the archives going back to 1979, which is 45 years before Adam was born. Follow All About Beer on social media at All About Beer, I guess. And if you're interested in supporting journalism in the beer space, which we frankly hope you are, because there are too few places doing beer journalism these days.
That's true.
We've lost a lot of good folks over the years, and journalism is not going through a good time. So if you have a little time and pull out your phone to actually give us a little bit of a couple of bucks at allaboutbeer.com, patreon.com/allaboutbeer. Nailed it. We
None
would
of that
really
was in the
appreciate it.
script. Yeah.
All of that money goes to support creators, editors, writers, especially the writers. Frankly, it doesn't go to my pocket. I'll tell you that much.
That's also true.
Which is just fine with us. But we're very excited about that, and you can also email at us at info@allaboutbeer.com.
Hey, don't forget, All About Beer has a podcast channel now. You can search and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. Steal This Beer has new episodes every Monday, and the BYO Nano podcast comes out on the 15th of every month. As for this particular show, you guys can't hear it right now, but Mitch Schroeder does the music. Jeff Quinn designed our logo.
Also, why are we promoting the BYO Nano podcast and Steal This Beer on this podcast? But we're gonna find out about that later. Anyways, I'm Andy Crouch.
Hey, I'm John Holl. New episodes release every Wednesday.
And this will be the last time I'm co-hosting.
But next week, I'll be back to drink beer and to think beer. Thanks, everybody.
Really appreciate Hey, I turned 22 in a month. You coming?
I'm there. I'm going to blow your mind with new kinds of beer.